Hello students, myself Trupti Patel from Arihant College of Arts, Commerce and Science. Today we are going to study very interesting topic, osmosis and osmotic pressure. Now besides the boiling point elevation and freezing point depression, the osmotic pressure is associated with vapor pressure lowering and can be used to determine molar masses of dissolved solute. That means one more colligative property we are going to study, that is osmotic pressure. So osmotic pressure is also a colligative property. Now before studying osmotic pressure, we are going to study few terms which are related to osmotic pressure. So we should know what is osmosis. When a solution and pure solvent or two solutions of different concentrations are separated by a semi-permeable membrane, the solvent molecules pass through the membrane. Students, here you can observe the diagram. Osmosis process is explained in the diagram. Now related to osmosis, there is semi-permeable membrane. It's a membrane which has pores large enough to allow the solvent molecules to pass through them. The pores are small enough not to allow the passage of large solute molecules or the ions of high molecular mass through them. Now this semi-permeable membrane selectively allows the passage of solvent molecules. Students, you can observe the diagram. There are two pictures shown in the diagram, right? In the first, there are two compartments. In the first compartment, there is solvent. In the second compartment, there is solution. In between, there you can see semi-permeable membrane. In the second picture, you can see there are two compartments. In the first, solution of lower concentration, and in the second, solution of higher concentration. And in between, you can see semi-permeable membrane. And with the help of arrow, you can see the net flow of solvent molecules. That is, the direction has been shown. The solvent molecules pass through semi-permeable membrane takes place in both direction. Solvent is on both sides of the membrane. That is, solvent is solvent and solution is a mixture of solute and solvent. The rate of passage of solvent molecules into the solution or from more dilute solution to more concentrated solution is found to be greater than the rate in the reverse direction. The vapor pressure of solvent is greater than that of solution. The net spontaneous flow of solvent molecules in solution or from more dilute solution to more concentrated solution through a semi-permeable membrane is called osmosis. I'll repeat, students. The net spontaneous flow of solvent molecules into the solution or from more dilute solution to more concentrated solution through a semi-permeable membrane is called osmosis. The amount of liquid on the pure solvent side or more dilute side decreases, and consequently the amount of liquid on the other side increases. So this results in decrease in the concentration of the solution. Now we have studied osmosis, students. Now where we can use this osmosis phenomena in our day-to-day life? Can you give me an examples? Yes, a raw mango when kept immersed in a concentrated salt solution, water loses due to osmosis, and yes, it shrinks. So this is example of osmosis. Even blood cells collapse due to loss of water by osmosis, right? When placed in water containing less than, you can say, 0.9% of salt, then eating excess of salt results in swelling of tissue cells due to water retention in the cells. One more, fruits also. Fruits can be preserved in the presence of sugar, which protects them against bacterial action, and due to osmosis the bacterium which loses water and it shrinks. There are many examples we can give, like even the leaves of a tree lose water due to atmosphere by transpiration. This is also osmosis. But when the concentration of the constituents in the leaves increases due to loss of water, there is a reverse process of pulling up of water from osmosis due to osmotic pressure. Right? And again, in case of plants, due to osmotic pressure, water is transported in upward direction. Right? So in some of the plants, the water reaches up to the height of say around 120 meters due to osmosis, and we call it as capillary action. So these are all examples of osmosis phenomena related to our day-to-day life. Now we have studied osmosis, we have understood osmosis. Now related to osmosis, there is osmotic pressure. Let us study osmotic pressure with the experimental setup. Students, observe the diagram. There is a semi-permeable membrane which is firmly fastened across the mouth of Thiele's tube, right? And the solution of interest is placed inside an inverted Thiele's tube. Now in the diagram you can see sugar solution, right? This part of the tube and the membrane, so this the setup and the membrane are then immersed in a container of pure water that is pure solvent. What is going to happen? Some of the solvent passes through the membrane into the solution, and it causes the liquid level in the tube to rise. The liquid column in the tube creates hydrostatic pressure that pushes the solvent back through the membrane into the container. The column of liquid in the tube continues to rise and eventually stops rising. At this stage, the hydrostatic pressure developed in the tube is sufficient to force the solvent molecules back through the membrane into the container at the same rate, and at equilibrium is established where the rate of forward and the reverse passages are equal. So the height of liquid column in the tube remains constant. This implies that the hydrostatic pressure has stopped osmosis. Then the hydrostatic pressure that stops osmosis is an osmotic pressure of the solution, and we abbreviate as pi. The hydrostatic pressure is equal to HPG, where H is the height of the liquid column in the tube, P is the density of the solution, G is the acceleration due to gravity. Now students, we have studied osmosis, we have studied osmotic pressure also. Related to this, there is reverse osmosis. The picture will be more clear if you see the diagram. It is the reverse process of osmosis. The direction of osmosis can be reversed by applying a pressure larger than the osmotic pressure. We have also quoted few examples for reverse osmosis. The pure solvent then flows from solution into pure solvent through semi-permeable membrane, and this phenomena is called reverse osmosis. Now related to this osmosis, osmotic pressure, reverse osmosis, there are again few terms which we should study. The first, isotonic solution, second, hypertonic solution, and third, hypotonic solution. So let us study what is the meaning of this solution. First one, isotonic solution. Two or more solutions having the same osmotic pressure are said to be isotonic solution. Let us take an example. Suppose 0.1 molar urea solution is mixed with 0.1 molar sucrose solution. Then this is the example of isotonic solution because their osmotic pressures are equal. Such solutions have same molar concentrations but different concentrations in grams per liter. Now if the solutions are separated by a semi-permeable membrane, then there is no flow of solvent in either direction. Second, hypertonic solution. If two solutions have equal osmotic pressures, the more concentrated solution with higher osmotic pressure is said to be hypertonic solution. And third, hypotonic solution. The more dilute solution exhibiting lower osmotic pressure is said to be hypotonic solution. Let us take example. If the osmotic pressure of sucrose solution is higher than that of urea solution. I'll repeat. If the osmotic pressure of sucrose solution is higher than that of urea solution, then the sucrose solution is hypertonic to urea solution and urea solution is hypotonic to sucrose solution. Thank you.